Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? How are you? I'm going to wait for a few minutes and I'm going to allow some people to get on. I have a couple of things to talk about, so clear up some things and just wait for a few more people to get on. So, how is everyone doing? I hope you're all well. Evening to everybody. I'm not going to keep you too long this evening, I promise. I'll try and get through everything as quick as I can, and hopefully we can nip some things into the bud. So I'll let a few more people come on there now. How is everyone doing? The weather is fine today, so I hope you all got out and got a bit of sunshine. So can everybody hear me? If you can hear me, if you give me a 5x5, it would be fantastic. Hello, Joe. Joe Power from Liverpool. Thanks very much for following. You're fantastic. Thank you very much for helping get the information out. Paul Woods, thanks for the parking tip. Dublin parking tip. Paul, you're a smashing bloke. Fair play to you, man. So can we all hear? Can you hear me? Is the volume okay? Okay, listen. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll just get started. And hello to everybody out there. If you're just coming on, hello, hello, hello. And thanks very much for all the hard work you're all doing. Keep up the great work. Remember what I said last Saturday. Get out there and support anybody pushing back against the government. The Fianna Fáil Fine Gael government and the sham opposition that are propping up that regime. So I'm going to read out something really quickly that we posted today on the main Yellow Vest Ireland page. So if you want to go back in at some point and give a read of that, it would be fantastic. And maybe you can share it also and get the information out there to as many people as possible. I want to first congratulate everybody once again for all their hard work and keep pushing. Last Saturday's event saw one of the largest rallies that we have put on. And of course, there are plenty of critics out there and that may not like what we do. And I would appeal to those people, please, if you're not happy with what we're doing, then you get out and you organise something locally also. Because at this stage of the game, we need as many people with their hands on deck rather than constantly backbiting and criticising and sitting on their own hands and doing nothing. So get out there and do what you think is what you feel you can do to help contribute to the movement. For those people who are advocating something a little bit more extreme, by all means, you go out and organise what you want to organise and see how many people will follow you in relation to that. I, however, and Yellow Vest Ireland, however, will not be participating in violence against our own people. So, and I'm sure you would all agree with that. We currently are already creating, going against the system by mass non-compliance for various different draconian restrictions that have been introduced by the Fianna Fáil Fine Gael government. And again, we would ask people to do their best to share as much as possible, to get the information out to as many people as possible, and to try and engage with other people in a constructive manner. Remember, we're all about choice. So whatever your choice is that you make, that's your choice, and nobody should bully you or discriminate against you in relation to your choice. So we're a completely anti-discrimination movement, and any discrimination in all its forms and guises or pretenses should be rallied against, especially state-sanctioned discrimination, which we are currently experiencing. So, on that, in relation to the GoFundMe, I might explain a little bit. Our GoFundMe has been active for almost 2.5+ years. We've had a total donations in that time frame of about €7,580. We use the GoFundMe because it's transparent. People can choose to say who donated or choose to donate anonymously. We also use the GoFundMe to publish our receipts so that you, the public, know where the money is going. And in relation to that, €7,850 over a 2.5-year time frame, where we've created dozens of large protests, which we hired equipment, printing costs, banner costs, and sundries, and etc., 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 and all of the costs involved in that. I think €7,800 is a paltry sum in comparison to what we've already achieved together as a community. For those people who would like to suggest untowardness in relation to donations kindly made by our supporters, it's surprisingly that you wouldn't be questioning other people who, in a very much shorter time frame, have had donations in excess of tens of thousands of euros, and in some cases hundreds of thousands of euros, and people are not questioning what that money is being used for. Albeit there are some people out there who are using those funds for good things in relation to the movement. So I don't understand why people always have to be so negative and so critical. Again, €7,850 is a paltry sum for what we have done so far to date. So, and by the way, might I say that just so people know that that €7,580 was donated by approximately 236 donors. Obviously we want to create larger and bigger events so that we can bring along public support. We are not going to do this without the Middle Ireland. So anyone suggesting that it can be done without Middle Ireland is wrong. We need all of the people of this country to buy in, or we're not going to change anything, and our message is just going to fall on deaf ears. Anyway, I'm going to read this out to you. This was put up today, so you all know where we're going from and what we're all trying to create here. This is, a lot of people are asking, where are we going? What are we doing? How are we going to get there? So very simply, when I founded Yellow Vest Ireland in the first place in December 2018, December 2018, I did so simply on the grounds that I couldn't find any party in Ireland that would represent me and my family and the protection of my children. And I spoke to many other people who felt the exact same way. The party system in Ireland is nothing but gang culture, and any party in Ireland, whether it be Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael or Sinn Féin, all they offer is more of the same, like for like. Now, that's how I feel about it. That's how many of the supporters of Yellow Vest Ireland feel about it. That's why Yellow Vest Ireland advocates for citizens-initiated referendum. Most people, a lot of people, do not know or understand what citizens-initiated referendum. I will say this to you. What it is that we as a people have a legitimate and a historical right for citizens-initiated referendum. as that was what our forefathers and those who fought bravely, and many of whom died fighting to free Ireland, envisioned for all of us here in Ireland. It is also what the Yellow Vest movement stands for worldwide. It stands for initiated referendum by the citizen. Now, we can't call it that in Ireland, because when you abbreviate it, it's RIC, which is indicative of the Black and Tans during the War of Independence. So we call it here in Ireland Citizens Initiated Referendum. It was taken out of the Constitution by Fine Gael in the 1930s in Articles 48 and 49 of the Irish Constitution. And it gave the power to the people to initiate referendum where the people felt that something needed to be done or something needed to be changed, giving power directly to the people. Some people know it as direct democracy. And that's what we advocate for. Advocating for citizens initiated referendum or implementing citizens initiated referendum across Ireland would in fact solve a lot of our problems and will put an end to the crisis management and the privateering of crisis management in Ireland for various different crises. So again, I'm dragging on a little bit here, and I'm sorry. I'm going to read this out, and we'll finish up then. Yellow Vest Ireland movement is about individuals coming together, regardless of their differences in opinion and their political past divisions, uniting and speaking out en masse to tackle the Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael establishment and those who prop up its regime. No longer shall we accept a cold, cruel bureaucracy as a legitimate reason to use force against those struggling to keep a roof over their heads, and allow people in Ireland to create a life worth living on the island of Ireland. We will no longer tolerate corruption, cronyism and political deception. No longer will we allow the people of this great nation to suffer in this Isle of Plenty. We have put forward these actions in consultation with our support base and our supporters at home and abroad. And some of these immediate solutions to the biggest issues facing the people of this island, of course there are many more issues out there that will be addressed as we go forward. We demand citizens initiated referendum similar to Switzerland, a legitimate and historical claim by the Irish as intended by those who fought and died to free Ireland and its people from tyrannical rule. Cameras are to be allowed in all civil courts for transparency and accountability, with no political appointees to the bench, i.e. judges being politically appointed by the establishment parties. All those involved in the cervical cancer scandal and all other scandals to be investigated for wrongdoings and held accountable. Constitutional protection of Ireland's water and other resources from privatisation and the return of Ireland's oil and gas reserves to public ownership for the benefit of all the Irish people, not just the selected few. Medical cannabis is to be immediately legalised for all those looking for alternative medicines in relation to their health. A prohibition on TDs from being housing landlords or beneficiaries while in office, and an end to all TD expenses. An effective means to remove corrupt politicians, Gardaí, civil servants and judges, accompanied with a lifetime ban if found guilty. An effective means to, a lifetime ban on TDs and top civil servants becoming lobbyists for big tech, big pharma and other interested global companies. Abolishment of the TV licence and an end to state reliance on the state broadcaster to push its own message. We all know about RTE and its propaganda. In addition to that, we all know about the state using the mainstream media and its advertising budgets to push its own agenda. So there should be a separation of powers there. So anyway, where are we? A ban on state advertising to prop up the media, and the conflict of interest created, putting profit before asking the hard questions to inform the wider public. Enforce full corporate tax rates on multinationals and collect revenues owed, and reduce the burden on SMEs, the nation's largest employment group, to create more jobs. End stealth tax and dual taxation, which would by default raise the value of spending and buying power of all ordinary citizens and raise the standard of living. Abolish the household charge, the universal social charge, and the property tax. The protection of civil and human rights as enshrined in the Irish Constitution, recognised internationally above all else. And all the draconian restrictions and discriminatory legislation on fundamental human rights. So you can read back over all of these things at a later stage, and I would please have a read of them, have a think about them before commenting on them. Think about how this would propel the nation and our people forward. I'll finish with this. These solutions are These solutions as a start would raise the standard of living for all those living on the island, regardless of colour, creed, preference or political persuasion, creating a society where the ordinary citizens have the power to create a truly equal and prosperous Ireland, where each of us can create a life worth living, filled with hope and prosperity for not just the chosen few. So if you agree with that, it doesn't matter who you support. It doesn't matter what party you support. It doesn't matter what ideology you support. If you agree with any of those principles above, any of those things as introducing them into Ireland would be beneficial to all of us, not just the few, not just the chosen few. So I would encourage everybody, please, do your best to keep pushing. Lastly, I'd like to address the accusations made against us again, time and time again, as being members or Sinn Féin controlled opposition, whatever. Firstly, we're not anything to do with Sinn Féin or any other party for that matter. In fact, we're apolitical and we have nothing to do with any party for that matter. Simply on the grounds as that we don't believe that the political system, which is corrupted to the core, is any way of a solution for all of the people of this island. We advocate for citizens initiated referendum. So please do your homework, have a look into direct democracy and citizens initiated referendum, and see if that suits your ideology or your belief system. At the end of the day, me as a father, I want to give my children a choice whether to be able to create a life worth living here on this island, as to oppose emigrating abroad to create a life worth living abroad. And all too often, that's the only choice we're giving our children. So at least let's give them a choice where they can prosper here at home on this island. And for the 2.2 million Irish-born citizens living abroad, that includes you. We would love to see our citizens abroad being able to come home and create a life worth living here at home. supported by their families. So if that's what you want, then please help us. Help us do as much. Change the system. Give us a sec. We can't keep doing it. Sorry, I'm getting upset. We simply can't keep doing it the way we've been doing it. It has to end. Enough's enough. So if you're frustrated, just like me, please give us a dig out. Anyway. Whew. Lastly, I want to say this. Or to inform you, on the 4th of August, Wednesday the 4th of August at 2 p.m, we will be gathering outside the Department of Health, those responsible for introducing much of the draconian measures on this island and restricting our freedoms and going after our children. So if you want to help, help. And if you don't, you may as well apply to join Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil and help them, because that's all you're achieving. So on that, sorry for getting upset, but it is what it is. It's a change, and if you want to see change, you need to get your shoulder behind the wheel and stop leaving it to the few of us. So on that, I love you and leave you, and very much. Please remember, log into the pages, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Telegram, follow us on the Makeshift Happen app, and we're on several other platforms. So, give us a hand, give us a dig out. Anybody who wants to volunteer, please make yourself known. And thanks very much to all those who continue to help and donate and give us a dig out. It's fantastic, and well done to you. And to all the critics, get out there, do something instead of whinging about those who are. So, I love yous and leave yous. God bless. Take care.